I started as a volunteer. I had a patient with dementia. And the biggest insight and the biggest impression, and this is something that a lot of people experiencing, when I came to a senior facility where she was living, and I saw this very small woman laying in the bed with so much medication. And I just was sitting next to her and I started to crochet because she has a dementia. She was not really with it, but just I know she was feeling my presence. And when I left this facility, I sit in my car and I was like, something changed in my mind. And I was feeling so lucky with everything I have because I saw people that cannot get up and get a cup of coffee for themselves.
Welcome to the Care Chronicles with a Caring Touch, where compassion meets wisdom in every episode, dedicated to our beloved seniors and caregivers. Join us as we explore the heartwarming stories, experts' insights, and practical advice that make every moment with our elderly truly special. Get ready for insightful conversations, practical tips, and heartfelt moments that warm the heart and nourish the soul. Because here at A Caring Touch, we believe in laughter, learning, and love as essential ingredients to aging gracefully. So tune in, relax, let A Caring Touch be your guide to making every moment count. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Care Chronicles. I'm your host Tavishka with the Caring Touch Home Health and Hospice, and today we have Larisa Silveira here with Caring Crafty Hands, talking to you about hospice volunteering. Welcome, Miss Larisa. Thank you so much for joining us today. So for our listeners, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what drew you to hospice care.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited and I'm very appreciative for the fact that you even start talking about hospice volunteers because they are underseen on my view. Okay. And I absolutely love my story. I love talking about volunteers. I love hospice. And I came to hospice being a volunteer myself. I am not an American, as you probably can hear my accent. So I came from another country. I'm from Russia. And I started looking for a job several years ago. One of my friends recommended me to join job readiness boot camp. It's a boot camp for people who would like to learn how to navigate workforce market. So I learned a lot of good things there. And one of the best things they recommended to volunteer to show yourself in action. So I did. I came home after I graduated from this boot camp. I came home and the very same day, I started looking for a volunteering opportunity. And I found that very interesting at love and caring volunteers is needed for hospice. And I decided to reach out, not just whatever get me as a volunteer, but I wanted to come and bring my own program, which is crafted yarn crafting. I remember I came to volunteer coordinator with my small project start to finish, and I start showing him what I do, what I can do with the patients and for the patients. Because, that generation still remember how to crochet, and either it was their mother or they know how to do that. So it's familiar. On top of that, yarn crafting has a therapeutic effect. It reduces depression and anxiety, which I believe it's understandable. There's a lot of this mood issues going on in hospice, right? So I offered my program and I showed him my small project that I can do together with the patients and for the patients, which was this little project. This is a crochet apple.
Ooh.
And something like this. This is a crochet, same thing, but orange color, and it looks like an orange. So this is a little cozy for cup to go, like a Christmas sweater.
I love that. That's so cute.
And this little guy, it's my favorite. So you can put it on a backpack or grandkids or whatever. So, or just use it like a coaster. As you can see, they're all approached as small, start to finish. And the volunteer coordinator was really impressed with the idea. And he asked me if I can teach other volunteers, which I said, of course I can, because I have a teaching background and master's in psychology. So I love to work with people. I love to teach and train. So I did that too. And at the time when I was teaching those people, I didn't know everyone who was going back and forth around me in the meeting room. I didn't know who all those people. And later on, I find out that some of those people were managers and administrator of hospice. And they were looking at me. And when the time came and the volunteer coordinator got a job offer from another company, they offered me to apply for his position. That's how I got into hospice and became volunteer coordinator. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. I never heard about this position. We don't have it in my country, but I've got very good training in Utah from the person who was doing volunteer coordinating position for 25 years. And she just set me up right. She told me the most important thing that every volunteer coordinator should understand. It's not going and just sitting with a patient. Volunteering for hospice can be exciting. It is sharing what you love with people. And she told me beautiful examples of the volunteering. Like, for example, they had a blind patient. And what the volunteer did, they found kids' toy factories and they brought to the blind volunteer parts of toys. And this patient put it together, and the patient was making toys for kids.
Oh,
Can you imagine what it means for the blind person do something like that?
that's incredible.
I was very motivated and impressed with her program. So I came back to Texas and started to build my own program based on what I know and based on what she taught me. And I started to build the program. This is how I started to build my program based on yarn and craft and other crafts because I have met a lot of people who would come to me with a strong desire to volunteer. However, they're hesitating to be attached to a person who is dying. So based on that, I start offer for volunteers to participate in doing something, crafting, and I split my volunteers to several groups. Like I had people who were making stuff. I had people who were going and visiting people and delivering that stuff that I already made. I had people obviously for administrative support. So everything I integrated yard and craft and whatever is count toward to volunteering hours. It was like all together. And I absolutely loved it.
I love that. What is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have with hospice volunteering?
This is something that I was thinking of before I start working in hospice. I thought that hospice it's a building with the gray walls where people dying, and when the volunteers come and they all begging to take them out. And I was imagining terrible, terrible picture. I didn't know that hospice is a service, and it's service that delivers to the place where a hospice patient is living. So this is the biggest misconception of mine, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people think that way.
So I wanted to kind of ask you if you could share a powerful or unexpected moment you've had or witnessed between a volunteer and a patient, or one that you've had yourself with a patient.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you my story. I started as a volunteer, had a patient with dementia. And the biggest insight and the biggest impression, and this is something that a lot of people experiencing, when I came to a living facility where she was living, and I saw this very small woman laying in the bed with so much medication. And I just was sitting next to her and I started to crochet because she has a dementia. She was not really with it, but just I know she was feeling my presence. Okay. This is what I was doing. And when I left this facility, I sit in my car and I was like, something changed in my mind. And I was feeling so lucky with everything I have because I saw people that cannot get up and get a cup of coffee for themselves. They cannot get up and go take a shower without somebody helping them. So this kind of feeling of gratitude I started having after I was visiting patients. And many people share that feeling after doing hospice volunteering. This is something that I discovered for myself in my experience. When I became a volunteer coordinator, I saw a lot of patients that not necessarily had dementia, but a lot of patients was so funny and with a great sense of humor. Very great, very wise people that can keep a conversation. And for example, I had a volunteer who was going through divorce and she shared with me that she thought that she would go and help to the family, spend the time with their mother who has a dementia and give them a free time to go and do something. And she truly believed that she's going to help to patient at the family. But then she said, they helped me because she was going through depression after her divorce. And that really helped her, the feeling that she helping someone and somebody needs her. And when you giving yourself, giving your time to somebody else, whatever you worry about, whatever you're stressing about goes to the backseat of your car. I also had a great story about a teenager who wanted to volunteer for hospice because he needed volunteer hours, and I love teenagers who choose to go to volunteer for hospice because they do have a choice. You go to volunteermatch.com and there's a lot of opportunities, but however, teenagers choosing to volunteer for hospice, and they usually are very good volunteers.
Thank you guys for joining on another episode of the Care Chronicles. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. If you need to find our website, we are www.acthhs.com. And you can find Larisa Silveira at Caring Crafty Hands on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us on this heartwarming journey with a caring touch. Be sure to check out our website and connect with us on social media for more stories, resources, and ways to get involved. We're excited for you to join us again in our next episode, where we'll continue to explore the beauty of aging with grace and compassion and dive deeper into topics that matter to our elderly community. Until then, stay connected, stay caring, and we'll talk to you again soon on the Care Chronicles with a caring touch.